Hi guys, welcome to our third session for week 3. This is a work session, but until we have someone show up that needs some work, I think we'll just do a demo. I am going to do a demo of a advertisement using Coffee. It is a company called Coffee to Go. Basically, you can call up or you can order on their website and they will actually deliver your coffee. And they kind of have like a fast food truck. And it's gourmet coffee, very good coffee. And they actually drive around the city delivering coffee to those who need it. So we're going to do an advertisement for their homepage. So I have some graphics already. Let's take a look at those. Come on. Creative Cloud Library can be so slow sometimes. Go. Some artwork here. This is the coffee cup. I'm going to go ahead and modify this and convert it to a symbol. And it is going to be a movie clip. Hit OK. And delete it off my screen. It's still in my library here. So when I need it, I can pull it out. And then I have your logo here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. It's on the cup already, but no, I have a logo here somewhere. Or I should. I moved it into this folder anyway. Guess I don't. Okay, so I'm going to go back into this coffee cup and I'm going to copy that logo and then go back to scene 1 and paste it. Modify, convert to symbol. logo. And I'm going to do the logo too. So delete that off there. And this is going to be my background. And no stroke. And I need a color that's going to look contrast a bit with the oranginess of that logo. But I don't want it to be too bright or too feminine. Let's not using that color. I just want to pull out my logo here so I can do some matching. Let's play this color wheel a bit. That's not too bad. Okay. So I'm going to go out here and insert some frames. I am going to create, and this is something that you guys, I haven't shown you guys. I'm going to kind of make a morph. I'm going to make a background morph into a star that's going to spin for a moment. And then I think I'll have the logo come in, like it's zoomed in really big and it's spinning and flying to the screen, and that star is going to morph out back to the background. Or maybe I should start with the star first. Let's try it that way. I'm going to cut this out of there. Go back here. The options on a polygon tool, and I want a star. Too big. Like that. I want my star. I'm going to insert a blank keyframe here and paste my background. Put it on here like that. I'm going to go back to this first set of frames. Doesn't matter where you click in the first set, but everything from here to here is the first set of frames. And then we have that other dot. That indicates a frame that has something different in it. So I'm going back to the first set, and I want to create a shape tree. So let's watch what happens. That looks pretty cool. And it'll happen pretty quickly. 1 second worth of time. So that's going to happen pretty quickly when we're watching it. I might even have to move this out so it's a little longer. We'll see when we test it in just a second. I'm going to go up here, and I actually want to take frame 1, and I want it to start right here with this logo. And I'm going to make it fairly big. Like that. And we're going to go out another second. And I'm going to insert some frames. And then I'm going to turn this one into a motion tween. And I want to rotate it twice. And clockwise will work. And in this last frame, I want it to be smaller. So there we go. And then I'm going to insert a keyframe all. And we're going to go out to 4 seconds. I'm going to insert frame on both these layers. And at 3 seconds, I want it to stay on the screen for just a second. So I'm going to insert a keyframe so that I make sure when I move it here in this last screen to make it come off, that it doesn't start moving all the way up here where that first keyframe was. I don't want it to start moving until it reaches this point. And then I want it to move between seconds 3 and 4. So I added a keyframe in there and did position all. So it basically copies this and says, hey, I want you to stay in this exact same location until I tell you to move again. And so now we're going to do that movement. And I want it to leave the screen. Now I am going to add a few effects here. I'm going to make a keyframe. Actually, the keyframe doesn't start till probably about right there. I'm going to insert my keyframe and my paintbrush. From left. I need it backwards. Let's see if I can change it here. I may have to change it manually. I was hoping it would let me flip it, but it doesn't look like I can actually flip it. So we'll see how this works. Grab these. First, I want to make them smaller. And I'm going to make them this dark color. That. And then I'm going to go out to maybe about right here and insert a keyframe and move these. Insert a keyframe. Move these again. Insert a keyframe. Move these again. Okay, now we have actual movement. And what I'm going to do here is I want to go back just a little bit. I want to insert a keyframe there, and I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go and insert a keyframe here. Delete. Delete. Now let's see what we've got going on here. touch that again. I don't really like what's going on right there. So let's see if we can't do this another way. And I want these to be the opposite direction. Transform, I want to flip them horizontally like that. And I'm going to create a motion plane. Yeah. That didn't work. Let's try this again. Should not be rotating. 0. Let's try this again. There we go. That's better. And I want it to sort of start disappearing about right here. So I'm going to insert keyframe all. And then I'm going to go out here to the end and click in this last frame and click on my graphic. And we see my properties panel changed. I'm going to go to display. Oops. I'm going to go to color effects and choose alpha. And I want that alpha to be 0, not quite 0. I want it to be somewhere like that. And then it's just going to disappear. So now let's see what we got. Solder. Solder. I think that will do for now. So then I have my coffee to go. So new layer. And let's go back here and do logo. Streaks and coffee cup. Library. Coffee cup. Oops, I forgot to make my keyframe. Let's get rid of that. I don't want that coffee cup to start until right after this next set of frames. So I'm going to make a keyframe right after it. Insert keyframe. We have a blank artboard. Now my background is going to have to come over. I'll go ahead and pull it over to 5 seconds. And then I'm going to put my coffee cup on. So it's just in that keyframe and not on the screen during that motion tool. And then, oops, did I twist it? Shift. cup. I'm gonna have to zoom in here because I need to make this coffee cup so tiny. That you see it. It's nothing but little bitty, 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 bitty. So let's go. I'm gonna lock these so we make everything proportionate, and I'm gonna go 0.1. Oh, 0.1. It doesn't want to go that small. 0.2. No, it doesn't want to go that small. Yeah, 0.5. Let's see if it'll let me make this small. So no, this is as small as it's gonna let me make it. So let's go back out to 100%. We can't see it. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. So then I want this cup to grow. I'm gonna add some frames here. And then I'm going to create a motion point, and right here at 5 seconds is where I want this cup to grow. So of course I'm going to have to zoom in there so I can see this cup. And I want to make sure I get it centered. That, and then I want to go out a little bit, about halfway, I think. And go back. I want to turn on my onion skinning here real quick. We use this with the wings because I want to make sure my coffee cup goes back to the size it's supposed to be. Let's go back here. Actually, let's go back here. And in this screen, my coffee cup is 110.85 by 194.70. I'm going to have to copy my width and height to get it accurate. So, oops, right there. 110.85. On 10.85 and 194.70. There we go. And then I want to copy these frames and paste those frames. There's keyframes. Add some frames. And it pulses again. And then insert keyframe all. I'm gonna go out here to about 8 seconds. Insert frame. Bring it up like that. That's better. And I'm gonna bring in some text. A new layer. This. Go text one. I want it to start on here. I'm going to insert a keyframe because I forgot that and delete that from the beginning. It's not there. And I'm going to do create motion tween. And at the end of this, I'm going to have this come on. That and a new layer. And text 2. And I'm going to have it start about right here. So I'm going to insert a keyframe. And I'm going to go out here. Insert some frames here and here. Let's click over here. Create motion tween. I want to bring it back just a little bit like that. And then I need to add a button, which I want to start about right here. So insert keyframe. And now I need to make a button. Grab my square tool. And I want it to be kind of rounded. 5. That color will do for the moment. That. And then of course my gradient transform tool. To twist this around like this. That. Add some text here. Okay, so I'm going to select it. Oops, I've got everything. Oh, I'm going to lock all those. Select it, modify, convert to symbol. Order button. And make it a button. And double click it. And insert keyframe there. Basically what I'm going to do is just simply flip it around. Like that. And then on the down, I'm going to insert keyframe. And go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And go back to scene 1. Here's my order button. I'm going to give it an instance name of order btn. Windows, snippets, actions. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a keyframe here. So my action script doesn't need to start until this button does. HTML5, event handlers, mouse click event. Oops. Mouse click event. And right in between here is where I need it to go to a web page. I can just delete all of that. I have it now, so the click event is in that web action. Awesome. And this would be the URL address to the order page on Coffee to Go. I'm just going to leave it as Adobe right now so I can test it. Close that. And then I'm going to bring this out to a full 10 seconds. Oops, I don't want to bring them all out for a full 10 seconds. I want to bring these out and my background. Yes. That. Oops. My strings don't need to come out. Those frames, there we go. Okay. Now then, let me pull up my browser here. And let's test it. But you see, we don't really get a chance to click on that button. Let's go back to Animate. So we need to stop it, right? We need to tell it, hey, I want you to stop right here and not move forward unless the user does something. So right here in this frame, in this action layer, I'm going to insert a keyframe. And I'm going to go to Windows and Actions, and I'm going to say this dot stop. And then we're going to test it again. Let's refresh that so you guys can see it. So now if I click order now, it opens up a new page on Adobe. My action works really good. I like that effect. Let's watch this again for a second. Now, I am a little concerned about the beginning because you really don't get to see that star. So let's go back and do some editing. And this is something you guys may end up having to do on your animated advertisement because you figure out that something's not taking long enough. And so it doesn't look exactly the way you wanted it to look. So I'm going to go back here. And let's make my panel bigger so you can see it. I'm going to unlock all these layers. This is where my star starts. Well, I need it to take longer. I want this to be on the screen longer. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to select all of these layers because I need to move them down some. It may not let me move them down. I'm going to have to do them one at a time. I want to move it down to about, I want that star to be on the screen for about half a second. Like that. So that means every single one of these layers, I need to move down 12 seconds. Otherwise, my ending will be off. So you have to move each frame when you're adding in, like I'm doing right now. When you're adding, you have to add this exact same number of frames to every single layer in order to make your timeline line up again. We go, now I can go through here. That looks good, but let me show you what, guys, what it looks like when you don't add those 12 frames. Suddenly, the last two, my last scene where the button comes up, isn't long enough. My button's going to disappear before it reaches the end of the animation. That's why you have to move it, so that you get everything relined up and it looks the way it's supposed to. Now then, everything's lined up and the timing's still correct for everything else. And I'm going to go back to frame 1 in the background, and I'm going to go edit, paste in place. I'm going to put my star there. And then I need to figure out whether I want that to maybe rotate instead of just sitting there for half a second. Let's see what it looks like with a rotation. Rotate one time clockwise. Okay, so let's test this now. Let's refresh this. My screen share, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's try this again. There we go. Let's refresh again. Nope, still doesn't look like it's giving me Firefox the way it's supposed to. Okay, let's try that again. Let me see this front again. That's not too bad. It's taken an awful long time now. I want to add some more frames there. Let's go back to animate. And this is another way you can lengthen things. I want to lengthen this for another, I want to take a full second before we start here. So what I'm going to do is, like selecting text, I'm going to select every frame on every layer for that 12 seconds I have here. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to say insert frame. It will automatically push everything out so that it's even again the way it's supposed to be. So now let's test this again. That's better. Yep, I think I like that effect. So as you see here, simple animation, but it's going to entice the user to do something, right? We'd all like to have coffee delivered when we needed it, wouldn't we? So we could just place the order online and coffee get delivered. That would be awesome. And so it's going to entice the user to do something here, and that's what we want. And my button is, of course, the most prominent thing on the end of it. And so it's going to get the most attention. It's got the highest hierarchy, even though it's not the biggest thing on the screen. It's got enough contrast that it stands out, which gives it the highest the highest hierarchy. So I think this will work. Really well. I'm not completely sold on this background color. I'm going to have to play with that a little bit. The contrast is good, but I don't think I'm a big fan of this yellow gold. I think I'm going to have to work on that, but you get the idea. So now we're going to go back to animate, guys, and we're going to break down one idea to make sure you are following along there and understanding what was happening. So this is really my first scene. This is the star. And we have the background. So if this was done on a storyboard, this would have been my first scene. This would have been scene 1. And it lasts for an entire second. And so at the end of scene 1, I made another keyframe so that the next scene didn't start until after that first scene is finished. And then that scene ran for another second. And it turned into the solid background. Well, that background, that's this background, that background stays for the remainder of my animation. That's fine. So really, well, we could rename this. This technically should be underneath this layer. And this would be scene 1. Scene 2. Scene 3. And if you'll notice, scene 3, scene, there we go. Scene 2 ends right here. And so then we have scene 3 start, which was a keyframe. I simply right-clicked and did insert keyframe. And so my next scene starts, and it plays for 1, 2, 3 seconds. And then I have some overlap because I had some emphasis. We're going to keep that as streaks because truly it's part of scene 3. So really scene 3 lasts 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. We have our streak. Scene 3 technically ends. The last of it is right there. So we have scene 3 ending, and here's that keyframe that will start scene 4. And then scene 4, let's clear my drawing a little bit here so we aren't getting confused. Scene 4 runs for technically 11 seconds because scene 4 is also part of my very last scene, which is, or last 2 scenes, because you got scene 5 here. Scene 5. Scene 6. So scene 4, the actual total of where technically scene 4 stops is right here. Scene 4 stops. So we're stopped here, and we have a keyframe for scene 5. And then scene 5 runs, which is the coffee cup going upwards. Scene 5 technically ends right here. But I needed some overlap between 5 and 6. So what I did was I just determined on the timeline where I wanted that overlap to happen. I started it halfway, which was right here, and simply inserted a keyframe to start frame 6. And then technically, frame 5 stops right there, right here, where this keyframe is. That's where scene 5 actually stops. Scene 6 actually stops here. But I did some overlapping again, right here. And really, I think we could our button kind of appears. I think that's fine though. So I did just a little bit of overlapping there as well. But I did that just by inserting a keyframe. Because what happens, if you remember, I did it a few times while I was doing this demo. I managed to do it all the time, if you're wondering. Let me clear my drawing here so that you guys can see what's going on. When you make a new layer to start your next scene, if you forget to make that keyframe where you need it, what's going to happen is you're going to draw whatever's in your next scene or pull it out of your library, whatever's in the next scene, and it's going to fill every single frame from frame 1 to the end. So what that means is when you go back to frame 1, that movie clip or symbol or whatever you put on your artboard for that scene is in the wrong scene. Easy fix. Just go back down and decide where you want that to start. It was supposed to come on the stage at 10 seconds. Well, just right click, insert keyframe, and then go back 1 frame and hit your delete key. And it'll take it off and delete it from the frames before so it doesn't appear until it's supposed to. That is an easy fix on making sure you've got the right keyframes and you don't have things in the wrong place. And it happens to all of us. You've seen it happen to me a couple times during this demo. Just the way it is. Sometimes my brain is thinking faster than my fingers are wanting to move. It's basically what happens. And the same thing is going to happen to you. You're going to get so zoned into getting things on the artboard and putting animation on them and things like that, that you forget to make a keyframe. When it happens, don't panic and think you have to start all over. Just find that point in the timeline where you need that graphic. Now, if you have turned it into a motion tween, let's undo this and get these frames back. If for some reason you have turned it into a motion tween and now your motion tween runs from frame 1 to the very end and you needed it to actually start on frame 10, so we're gonna create motion tween there. So suddenly you've got these blue frames. Well, you can't just go to 10 and insert keyframe all and then go back 1 frame and hit your delete key. Now all those blue frames are there, but it deleted it from the entire motion tween. So you can't do it like when your frames are gray. If you have a motion tween there already, and you've forgotten to add that keyframe before you started the motion tween, you're going to have to right click and you're going to have to remove motion. And then you're going to have to insert your keyframe, go back a frame and delete, and then recreate that motion tween where it's supposed to be. That is the simplest and easiest way to do it. You can, however, I click create motion tween. If you have your motion tween, you can go up to the beginning and hover over the edge of where that motion tween starts in frame 1, and you can scale it back. But guys, most of you are using a touchpad. So when you start accidentally getting into other layers, this becomes complicated because you have to hold the mouse button down the entire time in order to get it to move. Usually it's just simpler to remove the motion tween, add your keyframe, delete it from the frames before, and then remake that motion tween. It's just faster because it's not easy using a touchpad to hold your mouse down and drag all the way down your timeline at the same time. Make sense? That is simple, effective animation. Like I said, and if you stop and you think about all the animations that you've been seeing online, then you've noticed already that most of the stuff is exceedingly simple. That's because simple is usually more effective. It's just the way it works. Any questions? Then guys, there is an assignment demo you're more than welcome to use to help you with yours. Definitely will answer some questions about how to set up your scenes and how to transition from one scene to the next, when you need things to happen and when things need to start and that sort of thing. Playing with some overlapping like I did makes great transition. Experiment with it. All of your storyboards were awesome. All of you guys focused on creating that simple but effective ad. So you should be able to experiment with some things and bring it up to the next level by using some overlapping and some transition kind of things that weren't necessarily in your storyboard originally. But when you get them in here and you start playing with them, you kind of figure out how to flow better together so that it's not a cup going up to the top corner and then text coming in. Make it so it overlaps, so it all kinds of starts together, but one at a time. Not exactly together, because then it's just going to look like one motion, and that's really not what you want. So you just overlap those scenes so that while the first one is moving, the second one starts moving, and if you have a third one, it's moving too, and so forth, so that it's separate motion, but it's all starting to happen and transition and collide together all at the same time, and it'll make it just a little more interesting. It won't feel so broken. Okay, guys, well, I'll see you next week. I can't wait to see what the results are of your animated ad. We will be doing live critiques on Tuesday of your animated ads that you turn in. It's the easiest way for me to show you any areas that need to be improved or fixed, or I can show you another idea if occasionally I'm watching an animated ad and think, oh, if they'd have done this, it would have looked so much better. And I will show you those ads, and then you can decide. When I make suggestions like that, guys, they aren't mandatory suggestions, and I do that in discussion. When I do that in critiques and feedback where I'm typing, I always tell you that. But just so you guys know, for Tuesday, when I make a suggestion like you might try this and it'll look better, I always lead with that. You might try this, it might look better. Because it's not a mandatory change that you have to make. It's just something I think will make that animated ad look better. So I'm asking you to try it and then judge it for yourself, whether or not you like it or not. But the final decision, of course, is yours in those situations. And other times, I'm going to say, you need to do this. This needs to be fixed, and this is how you fix it. Those are mandatory suggestions that have to be changed by week 4. Okay, guys, I will see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. If you have any questions, I will be around, so please email me or send me a text message and let me know you're needing help, and we'll make sure you get that help. Night, guys.